Chapter 1 In a Rush for Luck. As she rushes around her room, trying to get ready for her UA entrance exam, Takara throws athletic clothes into her backpack with one hand while trying to put on her skirt with the other. When her foot gets caught and she stumbles, she has to give up multitasking and focus on one at a time. "Come on, Kara," her little brother Key yells, pounding on the door. "You have to drop me off on your way." "Believe me," she shouts back, "your school is not on the way." Zipping up her skirt, Takara opens the door and glares down at Key. He crosses his arms and his defiant eyes meet her own. "Just wait downstairs, you chunk." With that, she slams the door in his face. He grumbles on the other side upon hearing his least favorite nickname and plods down the stairs. Takara continues to focus on getting ready, pulling on a pair of shorts under her skirt in case the day is windier than expected. She rifles through her backpack and frowns, then begins frantically searching her room. This is not the delay she needs today. Where is that stupid disc? She lays on the ground, blindly feeling around under the bed. Not that it would be there, but she doesn't want to leave any stone unturned. "Clock's ticking," Key calls up to her. When she still comes up empty-handed, the girl pushes herself to her feet, brushing her uniform until it lies flat. "Crap," she mutters. Grabbing her backpack, she hurries downstairs. On slippered feet, she slides into the kitchen. Her father takes one look at her, then goes back to his paper. "Looking for this?" he asks, waving the small handheld tool. "Yes," Takara gasps, snatching the cutting disc from her dad. Her parents had given it to her when her quirk had first developed, the same one as her dad, in fact. They had hoped she would follow in their footsteps and become a jeweler. But they have supported her dream of being a hero thus far. She can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Even though she knows she could take her entrance exam without it, it's still a comforting weight in her hand. Where was it? The fridge. He raises his tea to his smirking lips, his pale gray eyes glittering. Takara's matching eyes run over the edge of the tool, making sure it's not damaged, before placing it gently in her backpack. "Should I check the microwave for your wire?" "Nope," Takara states confidently, but a sliver of panic furrows its way into her. She combs through her bag until she comes up with the diamond wire wrapped securely around the handles, and presents it to her dad. "No, I have it." Relief is evident in her voice. "Looks like someone's a little nervous," he remarks, tapping his jade-coated finger on his mug. The plink, plink, plink of rock against ceramic grates against the girl's nerves like a clock ticking down her fate, but she reminds herself to take a breath and keep a level head. "Focus on breakfast for now," her dad suggests. Takara pulls up a stool next to him as he slides over a spinach and cheese omelet over brown rice and a big glass of milk. "Thanks," she says, digging in. "I'm actually super excited for today. I think I've just been dazed. I mean, like, it's actually here. I'm going to UA today." Her father smiles gently at her. "And if you get in, you'll be going there every day. Will you still be going around in a daze?" "Hopefully not." Takara huffs into her rice. Her father chuckles. "No, I know you'll adjust wonderfully wherever you end up." "But I really want to get into UA, Dad," the girl confides. "I know the chances of getting in are really low, and I could always go to Shiketsu, but it's a little farther than I would like. Plus, it doesn't have the same reputation." "What you mean to say," Key interrupts, grabbing a granola bar from the pantry, "is that it's not the school your crush went to." "He's not my crush," Takara states defiantly while trying to ignore the heat spreading to her ears. She shovels another bite into her mouth to get her blush under control. "He's just an amazing hero." "That explains the posters you have all over your wall." The boy flutters his eyelashes and speaks in a falsetto approximation of his sister's voice. "Oh, Sun Eater, please hire me at your agency so we can fall madly in love and—" "Shut it!" Takara snaps. "He's a cool hero and someone to look up to. Is that why you have a picture of him on the ceiling above your bed?" The girl lunges for her brother, knocking over her stool, but he dances out of her grasp. "I could just let you walk to school by yourself, you know." "I love you, sweetie, but thou doth protest too much," a lilting voice interjects. The kids turn to see their mother walking into the kitchen, adjusting the ties of her dressing gown. Her short chestnut hair is mussed from sleep. Takara's face flushes with guilt. "What are you doing up this early?" she asks, going over to give her mom a hug. Her parents work late into the night and catch up on their sleep during the day. Takara knows her mother is tired enough as it is. She doesn't want to add on to that by making her take Key to school, even if it was just an empty threat. I had to wish you luck on your exam, she says, pressing a kiss to her daughter's temple. Which I'm going to be late for if we don't leave right now, Takara realizes in a panic. Key rolls his eyes as she grabs his collar and drags him out the door. What do you think I've been telling you for the past 30 minutes? He gripes. Love you, she calls to her parents. See you later. Good luck, they exclaim from the front porch. You'll need it, he grumbles under his breath. Takara levels a glare at him. Just hustle a bit, would ya? He huffs. You know I'm old enough to walk myself. No, it's my job to make sure that Mom and Dad don't worry about it, she argues. But in the back of her mind, she knows that if there were a day to change the rules, it would be today. I'm almost 12, he protests. I can take care of myself. Plus, you know you're going to be late. Takara doesn't need this negative energy today. Doing the calculations in her head, she comes to the obvious conclusion. Key's elementary school is in the opposite direction as the train station. The walk isn't dangerous, and one day isn't going to hurt. When they reach the end of their street, Takara shrugs off her backpack. Okay, here's what's going to happen. She pulls out the cutting disc and begins to grow a chunk of jade from her forearm. Her heart rate increases as her blood dutifully brings minerals to her arm. The patch of skin becomes sore as the crystal grows longer and longer, gray deposits of calcium clinging to the surface. When the crystal is about 4 inches long, she cuts into the base, the disc whirring. If you get to school alive by yourself and say none of this to anyone, I'll buy you a frozen yogurt when I pick you up. The blade cuts through the jade with a finalizing chink, revealing the deep green rings within. The makeshift crystal dagger falls into her hand and she holds it out to her brother. His green eyes sparkle, and she already knows his answer. His thick fingers snatch the jade from her hand. Deal! Don't get caught with that. It's for emergencies only, Takara implores, returning her bag to her shoulder. Don't get kidnapped. Key is already down the block, crystal tucked up his sleeve. And let's hope I didn't just jinx it, she chastises herself. Text me when you get there. She'll be lucky if her parents don't hear her from the house. From a distance, she sees her brother give her a thumbs up. With that, Takara turns on her heel and heads the opposite direction. Her path carves through the suburbs of Nagoya, taking the girl through the small square before the train station. At the center stands a statue of All Might with his fist raised triumphantly in the air. A few young kids glance up at it with bright eyes, while the rest of the morning commuters walk on past. Takara approaches the statue and drops a 5 yen piece into the collection box, muttering a prayer for luck. Looking up into the face of the greatest hero to ever exist, she studies the shadows that fall over the hollows of his face, making it look more grim than hopeful. Her pocket vibrates, and she tears her gaze away to read the text from her brother, letting her know he made it safely. Bring your wallet, he signed the text with. Takara chuckles and turns to the station. The train from Nagoya to Musutafu gradually becomes more and more packed with students. Takara knows some of her classmates are here somewhere, but she isn't about to seek them out. None of her friends from middle school are trying to get into UA. They're either going to B or C tier hero schools or their local high school. Takara has her sights set on the stars, but she knows that probably means never seeing her other friends again. However, she knows they'll do the best wherever they end up, and she'll meet new friends at UA who share her ambitions. The girl absent-mindedly rubs the severed chunk of jade on her forearm. The center of the crystal is on full display, much like the other pieces she has cut in the past. She focuses to grow it out and match the length of the surrounding pieces, covering her skin like thick scales. She had taken great care the previous night to make sure all the crystals were a uniform length. The layer of stone all around her would make both a sturdy shield and a powerful weapon. And preparing the night before gave her plenty of time to regain her strength before the exam. If she had to guess, she could produce maybe 4 more decent-sized lengths of crystal before feeling the side effects. When satisfied with the new crystal, she lets the jade recede back into her muscles to lie in wait for her exam. Takara pulls a bag of cashews from her backpack and snacks on them while watching the passing scenery. The dull greens and browns of winter blend together as the train flies past. If she had her colored pencils with her, she would have made a quick sketch of the landscape. New beginnings, she would call it. Her eyes drift to what instead is in her backpack. She pulls out her notebook and begins flipping through it. Extra studying can only help. At her middle school, she sits comfortably enough towards the top of her class, but this is different. She's competing with the best of the best. She has to be at the top of her game. And while she's confident enough for the practical exam, she knows brushing up on the subjects for the written exam can't hurt. All this week, everyone has been piling on their concern, and yeah, she can understand why, but she isn't used to being so nervous for exams. In school, it just means she has to work harder in the next unit if she does poorly. Her result in this exam could make or break her dream of becoming a hero. She doesn't have anything against her parents' professions as jewelers, especially considering their knowledge helped her hone her abilities, but they kept assuring her that she could follow the same path if this didn't work out. Is it just Takara, or does that sound like they don't believe in her? She juts her chin out defiantly. Takara knows she has what it takes to be a hero, so she refuses to let anyone get her down. As the train pulls to a stop, the crowd of students files out, pulling Takara along with the tide. Kids from all over the country are trying to get into UA. Why wouldn't they? It's the best of the best, the top hero school of them all. While others walk in groups or pairs, Takara is one of the few who walk alone. She clutches the straps of her backpack and begins the climb to the high school. Her long chestnut hair gets carried on the breeze, and she has to keep pushing it out of her face. The chattering voices and pesky hair fall to the outskirts of her mind as she gets her first glimpse of the towering building. The walls of windows reflect the gray winter sky and the bare trees that rustle in the wind. The girl picks up her pace, enthusiastically striding forward to the school of her dreams. Once inside, Takara smooths her hair down as she makes her way to the orientation hall. A faculty member informs her that students from the same schools would be sitting together, so she quickly seeks out her classmates. Her temporary ID card is located between two other students who talk avidly. She sits herself down and the conversation continues around her. She stares down at the little piece of paper that could either be a souvenir of her first steps towards being a hero or a reminder of what could have been. She studies the card with anticipation, her middle school picture staring back at her with those bright silver eyes. Much like it is today, her hair that picture day was pulled up into a half ponytail on the top of her head. Her face is encrusted with little jade crystals that can't sink below her skin. She remembers the day that picture was taken. She had just polished the precious stones on her face to gleam the night before. Nowadays, she doesn't subscribe to such vanity, especially since it takes so much time to buff out. Under the ID is a piece of paper with instructions and an overview of the day. Takara reminds herself to take a breath. Looking to either side, she only sees 4 other people from her middle school. Given the amount of talk from the popular kids, she would have expected more of them to be here, but she's glad they're not. Knowing what she does about the grades and quirks of those who actually showed up, she knows they're no real competition. The thought comforts her maybe more than it should. Mind at ease, she decides to look over the paper. On it is a short explanation of the practical exam. It appears as though they'll be fighting robotic villains. She recalls seeing those robots in some of the past years at the sports festival. As long as the metal isn't too strong, I should be able to tear right through them, she begins strategizing. Also, if I can see the wiring, it'll be easy to cut, and the robot will be immobilized. Hello, students! An energetic voice calls out from the stage as the lights dim. Are you ready? The pro hero Chemex stands on the stage, garbed in her classic coffee-tinged costume, brunette hair pulled back in a low bun. Takara almost responds by cheering, but waiting 1 second proves that nobody else is going to. She sits on her hands, glad she didn't embarrass herself. All right, we'll get that energy up. The teacher pumps her fist from her point on the stage. Even from her seat in the back of the auditorium, Takara can see the hero's honey brown eyes flicking around like she's trying to look at every student's face at the same time. Chemex launches into an explanation of the practical portion of the exam, and Takara cocks her head to the side. Knowing that they still need to take the written portion, she wonders why they aren't waiting until after to go over this. Because maybe getting excited for the practical portion will make some people forget stuff on the written exam that they tried to cram at the last minute, Takara deduces. Maybe that's their way of weeding out students who aren't as dedicated. She focuses her immediate attention on Chemex, but she tries not to let herself get caught up in the excitement. The girl stores away the information that she might need later. 4 types of villains, different point values, just silhouettes, but they look like the crude robots I've seen. Except the 4th one is just a question mark, maybe to throw us off, to make us hope it's not that giant beast. After the speech and presentation, the students all make their way to the exam rooms. Takara is once again grouped with her classmates. She knows this exam won't be too long, not like the finals she's getting ready to take at her middle school. This is just to gauge where the students are at the moment with all subjects. Two girls at the front of the room click their pencils together for good luck as the test is passed out. Takara smiles to herself. We're all looking for a little extra luck today.